We talked to Johnny. We talked to Johnny about how he's taken on kind of a shooter role, and it's something that's kind of new to him. Do you expect that to be the role that he continues in on offense for much of the year? Do you think you'll work in more of the athleticism he has?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it a little differently, but to me, he needs to shoot the ball when he's open because he's one of our better shooters. But he needs to play, and so, yeah, I'm not going to. He doesn't have a shooter's role and not a be aggressive role too, but he'll probably be more aggressive as he gets more comfortable. So, yeah, I don't look at it that way, but that's how he probably feels most comfortable now because he probably doesn't feel as comfortable as as far as making plays off the bounce yet.
Bill, how does your defensive pressure from Friday night rank up there with some of your better defensive teams?
I actually think that we did, for the most part, especially the first 10 minutes of the game, I thought our switches were really good. I didn't think they got a lot. I thought that they scored the majority of the points at the very end of the clock. So we got to finish possessions better. But I thought it was really good. But when you think about the best defensive pressure here, I don't think that quite ranks up with that. But it was better. I mean, there's no question it was better. But our defensive pressure didn't create havoc. It didn't create turnovers. It didn't create some things that, when I think of defensive pressure, I'm thinking of runouts and guys getting deflections and running through passes. And our defensive pressure the other night didn't create that. But nobody's going to create that against Connecticut because good teams are harder to get those things done. But as far as making them catch it a step or two further out and making them feel us, that was probably as good as we've done in a while.
Johnny said he had never experienced something like Friday's game against Connecticut before. How do you feel like he just handled that stage?
I thought he did great. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of guys that's never experienced some things like that unless they played here before. So, yeah, I thought he did really well. He only played, I think, 13 minutes, something like that, but I thought he was certainly a factor. And to your point, he jumped up and made a couple of big shots and one of the shots, even after he missed the first one, or in the second half. That was a big shot he made in the second half. But I thought he handled it well. At the Australian Institute of Excellence, they do an unbelievable job, but I doubt they have home crowds quite like that there. But there's no high school kid coming in that's ever experienced anything like that.
I'm just wondering, before the season starts, do you have an expectation or a thought of specifically where you'd like to be at this point? And if you do, are you there? Kind of just your thoughts on the team. I know it's early, but
I think from a record standpoint, I think everybody would have said if you go 3-1 against those 4 teams, you'd probably be very, very happy. So from a record standpoint, yeah, I'm good with the record. From a execution standpoint and some things like that, I think we're still quite a ways away. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and we got to develop. I actually think Parker Brown didn't get a chance to play the other day. I actually think he's been the most consistent guy of guys 5 through 9. It's just hard to play him when Hunter's not in the game because you lose so much scoring, But I think he's been the most consistent performer of those guys. But we still got to develop guys and get guys playing where they can play in a big game and us not take a step backwards when we sub.
You may have mentioned it last week with Nick, but what do you want to see from him to be able to earn more consistent minutes over the course of the game?
I love Nick, but he had 3 big faux pas as soon as he checked in 2 minutes. We got to do better. And to be honest, in a game like that, one possession could be the difference in winning and not winning. So he's got to get where he obviously understands maybe better of what we're trying to do from a scout report standpoint, and also with what we're trying to run and competing on the glass and things like that. But he's going to be fine. But that was not the game for him the other night based on how he got started.
You also talked about wanting to be more aggressive. Just what do you think of his shot selection against UConn?
Well, he didn't make any floaters. So I didn't think Juan had his best offensive game by any stretch. He missed KJ for an uncontested lob that led to 3 points for the other team when they got the deflection. I mean, he can do better in a lot of ways, but if we didn't have him, who would be out there handling the ball, that kind of stuff. So and he's playing so many minutes, and his body's not built for playing 37 a game. But I thought the floaters that he missed the other day were the exact shots that I think he should be shooting.
With such a big game last Friday and Missouri Saturday, how do you emotionally approach this one?
We practiced yesterday, and it was absolute awful. So today I'm hoping will be a more realistic day than yesterday, and KJ's back, so we'll at least have all our full complement of guys. So I think tomorrow's feel for the game will be a lot dependent on how we do today in practice. I'm a big believer you play like you prepare, and we didn't do a good job with Eastern Illinois at all last week, and we need to do a much better job today and tomorrow for UMKC. But it, from an emotional standpoint, and granted, it's football, you get 7 days to recover, and basketball, usually if you get 2 or 3, that should be enough. But I could see yesterday that our guys were still exhausted after a Friday game. So hopefully today will be a lot better.
Do you think, do you stress to them how much this game means to Kansas City? UMKC, I mean.
Yeah,
they go by Kansas City.
Yeah, we'll talk, but we say things like that all the time. But yes, yeah, we'll talk about that. There reaches a point in time, in my opinion, where you say things, and a lot of times coaches say things and they get credit for it or not credit for something. The bottom line is the ultimate responsibility is on the players to get themselves ready to go. You can't do in my opinion, you don't do pep talks, 40 pep talks a game. A year, trying to hit every right button. There's a point in time where, hey, guys, got a job to do. Let's go out and do our job. And then when you take that approach, that allows your talks to be much more effective when you have them. I think if your parents talk to you every single day, there'll reach a point in time, oh God, here we go again. But when mom or dad comes in there that one time a month, where that one seems to stick home a little more. So I want our guys to get to the point where they don't need to be pumped up to go out and do their job. And certainly, I at least that's the way I've always felt. And we'll get to that point with these guys.
When did KJ get back, and what was it like flying out there, and your impressions of the day?
Yeah, he got back this morning, but yeah, it was great. It was an honor to be there and to be a part of a celebration of a lady that has done so much for so many others. It even surprised me and us of what an impact she had, far more than what we actually even knew it, with all the different activities and everything she was involved in, and always fighting for others. So it was a very uplifting and proud to have been there. Very inspirational.
When you say awful practice, is it just guys not locked in, or just going through the motions, or what's like an awful practice for?
One in which we didn't complete it.
Okay.
That would be pretty
Okay.
much awful. So, But yesterday, KJ wasn't there, Hunter's nicked up, Juan and Kevin are nicked up and exhausted. So whenever those guys don't really practice and you're putting it on everybody else, it wasn't gonna be a good practice regardless, but we contributed to it not being very good by not being ready to.
Bill, on the court for KJ, what we're seeing is his flip or floaters getting some more length to it as far as accuracy. That crystal ball that you look into in predicting the future, what kind of ceiling can KJ have offensively?
Well, he's gonna have to get where he can shoot the ball better with range. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But, what we tried to do, Dave, is how do you play him like we played him last year with Hunter in the game more? And I think that we probably put him in some situations that he liked the other day more. But just the confidence, in a game where you're down 4, late game, with 10 left or whatever, to shoot a 14-footer is a big step in the right direction. And I think that's what you're talking about. He's expanding his game, but he's not expanding it like what a lot of people would think of expanding it is. He's not gonna be a 3-point shooter this year. Nothing to say he can't make some from time to time, but that's not who he is. But crystal ball wise, he's improved so much so fast. But from a off-season standpoint, there certainly has to be an emphasis and a game plan so he can be more consistent in that area. But for him right now, playing and shooting and looking to score 15-foot and in, I think is a big improvement over last year.
Can you give us a word on the Roos? What jumps out to you?
They've got guys that can score. They got 2 point guards that are quick and can get downhill, and they got 3 perimeter players that can all stretch it and drive it, and then they got multiple big guys in there that aren't standing height tall, but they all got good bodies and strong, and they've had they haven't probably had the start, but look at the schedule playing at Baylor and at Colorado State. That's 2 of the top 13 teams in the country. It hasn't gone great in some of those games, but they've had opportunities to win other games, and then of course the other night they won by 30 over Southeast Missouri. So I think that they've got a much better roster than maybe what they've had the last couple of years. So they'll be a dangerous team in Summit.
I know next summer is the time to talk about this, and both sides of it are busy, but have you had anybody from the NBA or comments or conversations with anybody about Kevin and his start, McCullough?
I know that he's really helped himself with the start of the season. I'll be shocked if he isn't thought of to be as good a two-way player on the perimeter as there is in the country. I think his scoring has made people look at everything he does more intently and give him more credit with everything else, because now he's become more of a scorer. So it's not like he's 10 times better in the things that we know he can do. He's just as good, and then he's adding the aggressive offensive mentality. So I think he's off to a great start. He's not going to score the ball, even though he is right now, as consistently as what Ochai or Jay Will has done. But up until this point, he has. And he's just been great. And defensively, and what he does with defensive rebounding and everything, that's as good as we've seen. I mean, he is a terrific basketball player.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.